Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, guys, I am just here to tell you that, oh my god, we are on our way to WANO. There's a couple things that I want to talk about in this video, but first and foremost will be the editor's note on the cover of Shonen Jump. If you guys do not want anything that can be even construed as a spoiler, feel free to not watch this video, although I do not believe that anything that I'm going to be talking about is really a spoiler because this is printed, you know, in Shonen Jump. It's intended to be read before we get the chapter. That being said, hedge your bets, decide your fate, and without further ado, I want to thank Zoro for Prez 2016 on Aura Jackson, as well as SP Manga on Twitter for translating the editor's note for chapter 906. And it's not very long, but what it is incredibly exciting and hype, and you guys should already know. The first bit is an incident at the Reverie! The crew heads for WANO! So we're doing this every single time that we talk about anything that the editors say from this point to the future. I don't want you to get tired of it. Do not blatantly trust everything that the editors have to say on every single, note or interview or whatever, because they often, if you just look at Whole Cake Island, they often mislead us or are misinformed, or in one way or another what they say is not accurate or not easily interpreted. That being said, I do not think that you put the editor note the crew heads to WANO unless, in this chapter, we see the crew heading towards WANO. Does that mean that we will get WANO in the next chapter? Maybe, maybe not, but I think that it highly suggests that we might. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. As for comparing the WANO to the Reverie, I am way more excited for WANO than I am the Reverie, even though we should expect to see the climactic events of the Reverie first, maybe even in the next chapter, because, this even refers to an incident occurring. That's usually the kind of thing that the editors say, and it doesn't actually mean what we think that it means, but still it could happen, and it should happen before anything crazy happens in WANO, but I am so excited for WANO. I cannot express with words just how long we have waited. All of the anticipation built up for it, not only from the story itself, but the editors and Oda himself. A lot of people weren't sure exactly how long the Reverie would last and how it would work in conjunction with WANO. Like, on one hand, it's possible that the Reverie is only like 5 chapters, it could be only 10 chapters, or it could be an extremely long arc the size of Zo, 20 chapters, maybe even up to 40 chapters. It's certainly, I believe that it's possible. But I think that this editor note makes me believe that probably the Reverie is going to be a bit shorter. But even still, we don't know. So it's kind of ambiguous as to when exactly we would start WANO, and another question that I had that I personally believed is whether or not Oda would tie in the Reverie and WANO simultaneously in some way. Which is to say that we will not get 5, 10, 20 chapters straight of the Reverie. Somewhere in the middle there we will get updates as to what is occurring in WANO, being introduced to WANO, and leading up into the incredible hype which is on. And this certainly seems to be the case as of right now. I do not think that Oda can finish off the Reverie in just one chapter. Next chapter will not finish the Reverie. I think that I can say that confidently. So if we're getting a bit of WANO now, it's possible we get a bit of WANO throughout the entire Reverie. Or maybe this is the only time that we get it. And maybe it's even possible that the story doesn't even focus on the strats in WANO, but rather something that happens before they get to WANO. That's also possible. But I just had to make a video talking about these editor notes because it makes me excited. I know it makes you guys excited. But I think that I will choose not to speculate onto what exactly will happen in the next chapter because I think that it's really open-ended. It could be something crazy along the lines of Weevil encountering these strats as they head to WANO, or it could be more straightforward that the strats arrive in WANO and we sort of learn of the situation there. Or maybe arriving in WANO is simply the cliffhanger to end the chapter, so we just get to see sort of what WANO is like from a far away view. Similar to what we were given with Big Mom's flashback in Elbaf. It's also possible that they have not yet arrived in WANO, but we get to see Zoro and Law and the rest of the crew, or Nekomamushi tracking down Marco. All of those things are possible. Or in the worst case scenario, this editor note literally means nothing and we get nothing of WANO in the next chapter, and the editor, as is semi-common, is full of lies. But yeah, I'll leave this speculation up to you guys, make your predictions as to what the next chapter might be like. The other thing that I want to talk about is that there is no One Piece chapter this week. And that should come as a surprise to many of you out there. It came as a surprise to me because it was unannounced. Basically, the impression that I get is that there was supposed to be a One Piece chapter this week, but the chapter was cancelled because Oda wanted it. And there's a little bit of speculation that surrounds why this has occurred, but most of what I believe, really, is about how the last 2 weeks have been for mangaka in Shonen Jump. If you guys follow My Hero Academia or Black Clover, you will know that the chapters were basically not finished last week. A lot of people also add in One Piece as having an incredibly short chapter last week, and the reason for this is because the authors essentially had 9 days in order to produce 2 chapters. And if I got my facts straight, which is entirely possible that I don't, these 2 chapters which they had to create in 9 days were the 2 previous chapters. So not the last chapter and the next chapter. As for why this is the case, it has to do with the holiday and whatever systems they have in place to create chapters. I really don't know. But that's how it is. And so a lot of people were initially concerned that Oda might have fallen ill, he might be sick, but I don't really think that that certainly could have occurred. But I don't think that's a major concern because it seems likely that One Piece will be back in the next issue of Shonen Jump, so this was just 1 week off. So it's not some sort of major illness, Oda isn't in the hospital, nothing absolutely terrible. However, it is entirely possible that Oda's health was a reason why we are not getting a chapter this week. Keep in mind, guys, that these mangaka are professionals, they are devoted, they are incredibly hardworking, and for somebody like Horikoshi in Boku no Hero to not have been able to complete the chapter last week really speaks volumes for how difficult it was, work-wise, these past 2 weeks for mangaka. And the same applies to Oda. So I really don't think that it's any coincidence that you have this incredibly difficult schedule, and then you have a random week off for One Piece. And I think that it's something that we should definitely have been grateful for because I don't want Oda creating chapters when he's not feeling well or when he's overworked. Not that he's not normally overworked, but more overworked than normal. Because in situations like that did lead Oda to a hospital in the past. That being said, this could also be a time-related thing that Oda simply didn't have enough time to complete the chapter, and rather than add it into Shonen Jump unfinished, he has the power, being obviously One Piece, to say, well, we're off this week. Regardless, anything that reduces the amount of stress on Oda is something that I am all for. Oda has already proven his dedication and love for the series, and so I know when Oda requests a week off, it is absolutely necessary. But yeah, for those who might not know that we don't have a chapter this week and might be looking for the chapter, there is no chapter. But it really does seem like all is well. Just an unscheduled break. But yeah, guys, that is all that I have to say today. As always, curious as to what you guys think about these 2 things. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.